They shall be my finest warriors, these men who give themselves to me. Like clay I shall mold them, and in the furnace of war forge them. They will be of iron will and steely muscle. In great armor shall I clad them, and with the mightiest guns will they be armed. They will be untouched by plague or disease. No sickness will blight them. They will have tactics, strategies, and machines, such that no foe can best them in battle. They are my bulwark against the terror. They are the defenders of humanity. They are my space marines, and they shall know no fear.
Hello! Here's about 2,500 points of Space Marines. It's a custom chapter of Blood Angel's successors called the Templar Sanguine. And these are not actually mine, they're my friend's. He's built an army and I've painted it up for him. This has been in the works for over a year now, and I've genuinely learnt so much from painting this army. It's actually the first army that I've finished, and it's not even mine. This chapter of Marines is basically what you'd get if you smashed together Blood Angels and Black Templars. You might see some differences in painting quality throughout the army, because it's been painted over a year, and I've really improved my painting as I've progressed through it. So they're not pro-painted or anything, they're definitely just tabletop standard. But they do mean a lot to me, because I'm really proud to have finished the whole army. So let's take a look at the different elements of this army, shall we? First off, this is the Chapter Master. He's built from the Helbrecht model, and my friend and I debated for a while whether to keep him on his original massive base. But in the end, since this army is just going to be played with Blood Angel rules, and he'll just be a regular captain, I went to work cutting down the rocks that he stands on and made it fit the standard 40mm base. I used milliput to sculpt over the big holes that were left after I'd carved the rock out, and I used some bits of cork which I ripped off and pressed into it to give it a rocky looking texture in the milliput. His hammer is a 3D print, but other than that, the way more subtle conversion on this guy is the pistol. My friend wanted him to be holding a plasma pistol, and I didn't have any spare left-handed plasma pistols. So I cut off a right-handed plasma pistol, cut the hand off a left-handed bolt pistol, stuck those two together, and then stuck the whole thing onto the guy's arm. You honestly wouldn't know I've done all that conversion work, I don't think. Next, there's this chaplain, the one from Indomitus. Immediately, you'll see that I grabbed a spare Reaver helmet to give him a skull mask, as every good chaplain should. I'm super proud of this paint job. I genuinely think it's one of my best. I tried a lot more in blending on the tabard than I've done before. And he's also the first example of the bases that the majority of this army is based with. They're resin bases from Unreal Wargaming Studios. They look fantastic, and the bases are really high quality. But it did present a few challenges. Mainly, we had to superglue all the models to the bases and find poses that fit with the different bases. And also, if any models already had a rock attached to their foot, I had to cut it away. And the idea was to have all the bases be magnetised, which is fine for the standard GW bases because you can just use green stuff and glue some magnets to the base. But these resin bases have a flush bottom, so it meant the only option was to drill out every magnet hole and superglue multiple magnets inside each base. Moving on, here's the Tech Marine of the army. I went for a much brighter Mephiston red for this one to show his Mechanicus ties. You might have noticed by now that part of this army's theme is having the weapons be a copper colour. We tried to do a lot of things like that to make these models not look too much like Blood Ravens, even though it's a very similar colour scheme. Here's the Blade Guard of the army. There's 9 of them, so they make up quite a big core of the army. There's a Blade Guard Captain, the one from Indomitus. I love the way the dry brush on the skeleton and the shield turned out. There's a lieutenant. Normally I'd have painted the Volkite pistol orange, but we'll be counting it as a plasma pistol, as most of these will just count as normal blade guard. And then there's an ancient. This model fits the Templar theme super well. Then there's 6 blade guard, a mix between the monopose ones and the multi-part kits. But all of these blade guard models will just be counted as 9 blade guard most of the time, and just count the captain as a sergeant. Okay, here's some of my favourite conversions in the Force. These are Primaris scale Vanguard veterans. They've got all the upgrades from the Firstborn Vanguard kit, like the weapons and the fancy jump packs. We've got a mix of shields, sword, axe, and then some lightning claws. These guys in the Blade Guard all have gold helmets to show that they're veterans, and the veteran sergeants have a black stripe as well. Then there's 15 Assault Intercessors with jump packs. These were made purely as Rule of Cool Assault Intercessors way before the most recent Primaris jump pack models came out, and luckily they're exactly the right loadout, so it all turned out perfectly. And way cheaper as well than the new 5 model kit. Don't tell Games Workshop. And we've got the whole copper colour weapon theme going on throughout all of these models as well. All of these Assault Marines have custom heads and torsos from Archie's Forge. That's what's helping sell the Templar theme. In the same vein, the 20 Intercessors of the army also have other helmets and torsos from Archie's Forge, along with backpacks too. The sergeants have back banners, because they're just awesome, and tan coloured helmets to show their sergeants. Next, there's 2 squads of aggressors. We've got some Boltstorm ones. I love Gravis armour, so these were very fun to work on. And then there's some Flamestorm ones. And then we've got some Eradicators. These were some of the first models I painted, and I went all out with the orange edge highlight, which wasn't something I kept up with because we felt that it made them too bright, and my friend was after quite a dark scheme. And then we've got some Plasma Inceptors. I used some metal rod for those stands so I could drill them into the resin bases, and oh boy, I love them. The stands are really strong, and I actually think painting them black makes them stand out less than the transparent poles that they normally come on. Final stretch now, hang on in there. Here's the vehicles of the army. This is the Repulsor. The yellow blood drop is there to match the rest of the infantry, and there's lots of Templar badges all over the model. Then there's the Repulsor Executioner. Again, all the weapons have that copper colour. Here's the Dreadnought. My friend used a 3D print from Pop Goes the Monkey for the Templar head conversion and the shoulders. I've used a few of their pieces too, and they're very nice prints. My friend built the pose of the Dreadnought before buying the resin base, so I think we did a good job at making it fit together and look natural. The Gladiator here. I was sceptical at this model at first, but it's definitely grown on me. I do like the Rhino and Razorback, but this is just a bigger, better scale model. And then, last but not least, we've got the Land Raider Crusader. Such an awesome model. This was actually mine that I built as a Black Templar model, but I didn't know what to do with it, so I swapped it with one of my friend's models because it fits so well in his army. So if this model kills any of my models, it's going to be absolute heresy. Alright, so there we are. That's the full army. I hope you either found some inspiration or maybe even some motivation to keep pushing to finish an army. Because man, I'm riding that high right now. So thanks for watching, and do let me know what you think.